Turok is back in an all-new adventure that takes the series back to its roots. Turok Evolution sees the Native American dinosaur hunter return to his primeval best, but with great new weapons, superbly organic environments, and hot new enemies. We caught up with the game's creative director, David Dienstbier, and got the inside story.
The goal for us is to create the same game across all three platforms. So we are not planning exclusive levels for one version versus another. And the reason that we made that decision is obviously because we have a simultaneous release planned, or a near simultaneous release planned. And when you delay one version against another by 3 to 6 months, that's when those sorts of differences become most important. We don't create worlds that, only have bad guys and good guys in them. We create worlds that live and breathe around the player. So that means as you're moving through these jungles, you're going to see butterflies in the air, dragonflies, water bugs, fish, turtles, spiders, parrots in the trees, little birds on the ground, picking at the soil. You're going to see life all around you, and you can interact with all of it. So if you want to be mean to the monkey, you can be mean to the monkey. If you got a problem with frogs, you can kill the frogs. It's really up to the player. Those things create discovery, and discovery is inherently enjoyable. The main flow of the game is more linear. There's a lot of open space. There's a lot of different ways that the player can engage in the combat in the game. You can skip entire little components and submissions and things like that if you want to. But we really do try to pull the player through on a kind of what I call a loose leash. The other thing that we do with our environments is we make them a key part of the gameplay. It's not just a place to walk around in, it's a place that can react to the player and that the player can react to. So what that means is the foliage in the game is all swaying in the wind. You'll see grass blades growing in the, blowing in the wind. You'll see trees rocking back and forth. But if I move through the foliage, it reacts to me. It rocks back and forth. We try not to fall into a pattern of trying to imitate other games. We don't see that one particular title releases with a single feature that we don't have, and therefore get panicky that it's not in our game, because we have to turn right around and say, well, what does our game have that they don't have? Games need something special. If everybody's just creating the exact same functions of the exact same gameplay elements, then you're going to get the same game over and over and over again, and that's not something that I'm interested in doing, and it's never anything that we set out to do when we create a Turok game. We've got a great batch of new weapons and a great batch of old favorites returning. Turok's trusty bow and tech bow are obviously back. We've created an all-new chain gun that we call the Trinity class tri-barreled chain gun, which is more outrageous than any chain gun that you've probably ever seen in a game. 6 barrels aren't enough. It's got to be 18. That's Turok. That's what Turok's about. The player walks through jungles, both daytime and nighttime. They fly over jungles. They fly through arid desert landscapes. They try to infiltrate enemy bases, which are far more architecturally based, stonework and metal. And then they also infiltrate entire moving battle stations, which are made of nothing but steel and moving parts. But in addition to that, we have brought back the cerebral bore in the form of an all-new derivative called the swarm bores. And rather than firing a single bore at an enemy's head, it actually fires 5 bores that track at different points on the enemy's body. So it will strike the hip joints, the shoulder joints, and the head. And I'll leave it up to your imagination as far as what that does to a bad guy. But let's just say, the original got us in trouble. This one's going to get us in more trouble. The end result is fantastic. All 3 versions of the game look beautiful, and it was well worth the trouble.